The Private Label Pod with your host Paul Mooney, brought to you by Private Label People.
You just listen and leave the rest up to us.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Private Label Pod, episode 9. I'm Paul Mooney. AI is on the tip of everybody's tongue these days. I'm not sure we all understand exactly what AI can do, but thankfully for us, there is one person who seems to have his head around it and understands it very well, and that's our very own Robert Rickey. So we sat down with Robert and we talked a little bit about AI.
Get involved, have your say, ask us a question, or leave us a voice message by heading on over to privatelabelpeople.com/podcast.
Robert, how are you?
I'm really good. A wee bit apprehensive because the last time we were talking, which was obviously a lot of fun, and we were talking about having fun inside the business. So I've no idea where you're going today, Paul, to be quite honest with you.
Neither do I. Story of my life, but that somehow get through. Well, we'll start off. We introduced something this week called.
Did you remember the school bag today, by the way?
Let's not mention it. I'm still hurting. Yeah, I've spent 2 hours in a car this morning. That's quite enough. So, I was going to say we started this week with the launch of Oscar. Mm-hmm. There's a few famous Oscars.
There is.
The Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Wilde.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar the Grouch.
Mm-hmm.
And Oscar De La Hoya would be one of your favourites.
Yes.
Famous
absolutely.
boxer. And then we've Oscar Pistorius, but we'll not talk about him.
We'll not talk about that just right now.
I think our audio guy, Mike, is about
It's like, all right, so you're bringing in Oscar, like it's all these sort of famous Oscars. He's very famous, maybe infamous, but yeah, I think we'll move on swiftly the way he would.
Yep, the Blade Runner. Yep, absolutely. Anyway, can you remember what Oscar stands for? Because I can't. Put you on the spot.
It was automated response.
Okay.
It was the end, automated response. I believe C was customer. S was specific. And O wasn't autonomous, 'cause that's A. It was like overall. No, I can't remember what we said.
I liked going backwards on it. It made more sense.
Yeah, well, I just remember automated response. So
just feed Oscar in the AI; it'll give you the answer.
What is your name stand for?
Absolutely. Okay, people. Basically, Oscar is an AI. It's an AI platform for you to feed questions into to get answers about program. Is it? Or sorry, reports
about anything that. Well, let's sort of backtrack a little bit. We've looked at this for quite a long time and said that even though we do respond to people's questions very, very quickly, which very, very quickly to us is 24 hours. If we can get back to somebody within one full day, that is very quick. You know, you try getting a response from a big company, you know, like Apple, BT, Amazon themselves in 24 hours, dream on. Like, good luck with that. And so we've always kind of prided ourselves that we get back to people in good time. But 24 hours in this day and age is absolutely crazy. It's a crazy amount of time, especially if the query is, let's say, very small. And the answer is therefore very small. You've reached a hurdle. You need somebody to get you over that hurdle by providing one little small piece of the jigsaw. And with the advent of AI and Oscar that we put in, we wanted to obviously name the AI just to give it a bit of human sort of feeling instead of like ask the bot. You know, it's sort of, people aren't going to take to that as well, but if you've got a name, weirdly, it's a little bit more humanized. People will start to ask it. And also that idea of asking it what we would deem the silly questions, right? Because regardless what we say to people, just ask the silly questions. Ask this, but let us be the judge of whether it's silly or not. It's not silly to you because you're asking it and we need to get you over the hurdle. They'll more likely ask Oscar than ask us that. Maybe it's an embarrassment thing. But being able to feed in to that AI what we know, and therefore they being the bot, can answer questions for people inside Private Label People at the drop of a hat, like within seconds. And it doesn't matter which way they phrase the question. That's another huge part. So if we put together an FAQ sheet, right, in a document, somebody could search the document for their question. But what if they frame that question ever so slightly different? It's not going to show up because it has to be an exact match whenever you're looking for it. Whereas an AI will take that, understand the question, and then go into its memory banks that we have fed it the information into and give you a very comprehensive answer back again. And if you need any follow-up question, you ask it again, it responds again. So it gets you over that obstacle so quickly.
It's great. It's saving people a lot of time, but it's also saving you a lot of time, well, the team here, because it's a lot of questions that you have to answer, but it's giving them a quick response, and it's also getting the private label people who work in the office out of jail a little bit.
Well, it also then allows us to work on other things instead of answering the questions, because are we really providing mass value by responding to a question? And maybe it's a question over and over and over again, and maybe it takes a little bit of time, as you were sort of saying, to respond to those. Mm-hmm. And is the value in that, or is the value in actually knowing the answer and putting it somewhere where that person can get it straight away?
Yeah.
That to me is where the value is. Sure, knowing the answer, but actually being able to give them an automated response. And instead of going and saying, oh, go and look at the videos. While I know that the level of work that I put into videos, in terms of making sure the materials there, making it readable in terms of slides, having all the audio, getting the video people to put these things together, there is a hell of a lot of work in that, and people don't watch videos. But things are moving on, so we've got to move with the times. People want instant answers, and it used to be, I would have kind of gone, I would have tried to fight that, but I think I was fighting it because we didn't really have an option. Because how do you timestamp every single video according to what you feel the person is going to type in to find the time to watch the video? It's almost an impossibility. Or how do you write up some documents knowing the verb to use whenever there could be two or three, or how they're going to phrase a question? But AI allows for this.
Yeah.
So therefore, embrace it and feed the information into it that we have done. And yes, you were sort of saying about reports. What we've done is we've taken one specific area and said, let's load that all in so that we can not sort of keep a handle on it, but it's so that we can get all of the information in on the report, test that out, see what the answers are coming back, and then move on to the next section, rather than doing absolutely everything half-arsed and then have to come back around to it and redo it. We're trying to do one section to the very best of our ability, then see, is the AI responding to the very best of its ability, then move on to another area.
It's going to be a fantastic tool. It's almost Google for an Amazon seller. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and the more and more that we move on and we explore different areas, because at the minute we're really talking about text, we're really talking about questions. So maybe that is, where do I find my Opus report? He knows where that is, okay? And he can direct you to that. Or then you say, what does this column mean in the Opus report? He's going to know all of these things. So he's a private educator, I guess you'd say, where you find yourself and whatever question you're asking. Also, he can be answering the exact same question or a very similar question to two different people or multi-different people at exactly the same time. Or he could be answering multiple different questions to multiple different people at exactly the same time across the globe. And again, coming into that, it's like, well, what if we're asleep? We cannot answer questions 24/7. He can.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't go to sleep. So therefore, it helps for timelines. But that's just text. So what I want to do and what I'm developing now is, obviously a massive part of our business is numbers, right? It's reports. And reports are a series of numbers. And I think to I think, especially with the likes of startup entrepreneurs, people who are getting involved in business, numbers can be a wee bit frightening at times. Like I would say that they are the true global language. It's, a number is a number is a number, but whenever they are in columns and in rows and there's all different variables, people can get a little bit afraid. I think they definitely get overwhelmed, and then they ultimately kind of get confused, or some way, shape or form of that. They end up in a not so great area. And it's almost like we get a little bit of dyscalculia, even though we don't suffer from that. And even if you did suffer from that, well, it's going to make it 10 times worse, where those numbers just are jumping around the page and whatever else. How would you ever understand that? Whereas being able to harness some form of AI to be able to read the numbers for you and tell you what they mean and tell you what to do next, if anything, this starts to become really, really powerful.
It's a game changer. It's I mentioned Google at the start of that. I have to say other search engines are available. Don't
Yeah,
bump
you're not affiliated to Google in
no,
any way.
no. Well, if they want me to,
Well, you are
certainly.
wearing a Google t-shirt.
If they want me to, then fine. Yeah, absolutely. But the more I speak to you about AI, you can see the more.
Do you want to leave Google your contact details just in case they want to reach out to you for a bit of sponsorship?
Absolutely, yes, definitely. But though I can see the more excited you're getting about AI, is that the more you delve into it, the more you realise it can do for us as a company, but also more for the members.
Yeah.
And is there other parts of AI that you've been working with that have been helping your day to day?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like kind of embracing that. People will get afraid of these things. And I actually even had a conversation this morning with Mike, our videographer.
Yeah, bit of an idiot. Yeah.
Hey Mike, how's it going? And we were just talking, like a lot of people have been saying to him, that he's in the creative industry in more ways than one, not just video, but audio and creative digital media, if you want to call it that. And, a lot of his friends and I was going to say coincidences.
Acquaintances, yeah.
Been sort of saying to him, this, you're done, you're finished, AI is going to take over. And that's just not true. It's like, you need to have somebody at this present minute in time, of course, to program it. And who better to program creative AI than a creative person, right? It's the people who are creative that are going to be left behind by AI are those that don't embrace it. And I think in that industry, that's the best example that I can give of that. Another example would be the likes of accountants. Accountants who do not embrace what AI has to offer will be left behind, but those who do embrace it will take on a new leap. The same, I feel, goes across the board. Yeah, we've got to harness it, embrace it in the right manner, and see how it can make our lives easier. Not to the stage where it makes us lazy. That would be the wrong way to go down that route, but how can it help? Instead of maybe taking a graph or a stretch of numbers and having to look at it and go, oh, Jesus, it's taking me hours, to work out these different things because I don't have efficiency in sheets. I'm not that great with mathematics. These things come up all the time. As an entrepreneur, a business owner, you don't necessarily have mathematics as your number one skill. It's bloody useful if you do, but you don't necessarily. Whereas this could tell you in an instant, what does this graph mean and what should I do?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a game changer for sure. And people are always a little bit afraid of these things, but it's just about harnessing it, isn't it? But just to finish off, I'm going to give you a quote from a famous Oscar.
Oh.
Don't worry, it's not the last one we mentioned earlier. You can never be overdressed or overeducated. Do you have any idea which Oscar said that?
It sounds, I suppose, like Oscar Wilde, but it'd be brilliant if it was Oscar the Grouch.
Well, I'm leading on from that, just for this one. Sort of giving it away now, but Oscar the Grouch's quote, "Just because you're trash doesn't mean you cannot do things. It is called garbage can, not garbage cannot."
Hey, I like that. I really do like that. So just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do anything. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what it was. that's really interesting, because weirdly that sort of brings me into this idea that, you know, people think about failures, right, or trash, something that hasn't worked, but actually the knowledge that you can gain from a failure is normally 10 times the knowledge that you get from a success.
Absolutely. Oscar the Grouch, famous philosopher.
And private label Amazon seller.
Yeah.
Hopefully now, Paul, you're going to now take us into the outro with, can you tell me how to get the Sesame Street? Full rendition.
I'll not start singing.
Leave that to later.
Get involved, have your say, ask us a question, or leave us a voice message by heading on over to privatelabelpeople.com/podcast.
Thanks to Robert there, who explained fantastically the benefits of Oscar. I think you can all agree that Oscar is going to be great for everyone who has a private label business. And it was excellent to have Robert explain it so thoroughly. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.